Hello guys, we are currently in Mr. and Mrs. Gary's house, which is claim number 0790085948. Again, that's claim number 0790085948. We are currently on the back slope where we're actually going to be addressing one of the affected shingles that were wind damage shingles that was approved, and we're going to be attempting to do that repair here using this insurance approved tool, the snake bar. Now, as you can see here, we currently don't have any of the shingles around its perimeter affected, but we're going to be attempting to remove this shingle, which actually starts here and ends there, without affecting any of these other shingles around its perimeter. And we're going to be doing this as gentle as possible. And we're going to be here as gentle as possible. You can just see all the granules just coming loose in any movement we're making here. Again, we should be extremely careful there. I don't want you to affect any of the other shingles around its perimeter. Looks like there's still a nail here that's grabbing onto my shingle. And we're trying to be as gentle as possible here. Although we've got to make sure all the nails are out of the way, of course. We're being as gentle as possible there. Now we also do need to make sure all the nails are out of the way. I'm gonna make sure all the nails are outside of the way. If we don't remove all the nails, the new shingle won't be able to be tucked in properly, or it may create some nail pops actually. So again, we gotta make sure all these nails are out of the way. Now, one thing that I will also mention while I was up there filling the nails, I could actually feel the decking, and we also noticed that the last time we installed this tarp. So this house actually has slatted decking, which is also a big issue on when it comes to warranting the repairs, since we have no idea if the nails are going to land in between the slats. I can't actually warranty this repair for that reason. Now we'll go over those scenarios in here in a bit, but I do want to mention we're using nails that are shorter than an inch long here. Not these two, but these. They're about 3/4 inch nails. What it helps me do is helps me bring up the shingle as minimal as possible in order to avoid damage on the shingle above. Let's see if we can make that happen. Now it actually feels like there were some nails that were missing there. Sorry, I forgot to take before photos here.
Now it does feel like there's some nails here. So again, we need to make sure they're out of the way. If not, can't tuck it in like we just had the issue there. Again, if we don't get those nails out of its way, there's no way we can tuck in that new shingle. Now it feels like we actually got all the nails out of its way. So I think now we should be able to tuck in the new shingle. All right. So now we do also got to make sure that all the nails that we removed are back on. If not, these shingles will actually be blown off real easily by the next wind. Again, we need to make sure all these nails are back in there. There's a hole right here. We'll remove that other. Remove the nails for the other shingle. So again, we need to make sure those holes are filled back in, and the new nails placed. If not, the shingle right here is going to be blown off real easily. I'm going to make sure the same goes for this area. So you see right here, there's a hole. Got to make sure those holes are filled back in with the nails we removed. Again, if we don't do that, all that ends up happening is that the shingle right here, next wind, will be blown right off. Again, we do use this snake bar to avoid to bring up that shingle. Over here. Then I'm gonna make sure that nail, you see that hole? Gotta make sure that nail's back on there. Okay guys, so we went ahead and installed the new shingle, as you can see there. Now there was some new creases that were unfortunately created when doing this repair. For one, this crease right here wasn't previously there, neither was this one. This has a whole crease of its own as well, and so does this shingle. And none of these shingles were previously there. None of those none of those creases were previously there. For this reason, I would actually deem this roof non-repairable. I wouldn't actually be able to warranty that repair. For not only the reasons of the new creases being created, but as well as for the reasons that I went over beginning of the video, which would be how it's covered with slats. Now this area actually had a leak. We also didn't go over the tarp. The tarp does need a, once we're installing the tarp, we saw that it actually was covered with slats. Now, one thing I also want to go over is this rank cap.
Now this rain cap was one of the only few things that was taken into consideration for the hail damage, when, to be quite frank with you, this roof is covered with hail damage. But this rain cap was taken into consideration when writing up the estimate. Now here's one thing that I wanted to go over. This rain cap has a whole bunch of shingles sitting right over it, meaning whenever I remove this rain cap here, I have to remove this shingle, this shingle, this shingle, this shingle, this shingle, this whole shingle right here. I also have to remove this shingle. But here's the thing, whenever I remove this shingle, guess what? I also have to remove all this ridge cap, all of it actually. It all sits right over each other one. So whenever I remove this shingle, I have to dig into the ridge cap. And whenever I dig into the ridge cap, the one right above it gets folded, and so on and so on. Again, like I said, the roof was covered with hail damage. The only thing that was taken into consideration was that rain cap. Here's another shingle that was actually damaged by wind, and it was also approved for repair. I also want to go over how it's sitting right over the ridge, meaning whenever I dig into the shingle, I obviously have to dig into this ridge as well. And like I mentioned just a second ago, all the ridge, look at that real good hail damage right there. Can't believe the hail wasn't actually acknowledged. I can just look right over it. A whole lot of hail damage all over the roof. Anyways, all this ridge cap sits right over each other, so when we're doing this shingle, it means I have to dig into this full ridge. Whenever digging into the ridge cap, whenever we're actually installing towards manufacturer guidelines, I actually have to sit 6 inches over. It's in 6 inches over here too. So meaning we have to tear into all this whole area right here in order to work on the ridge and to provide the client with the proper warranty. Meaning, again, another of the reasons why I would deem this roof non-repairable.